Hi everyone, and welcome to ABG Investor Days. My name is Nikola Kalanowski, and I'm an equity research analyst. With us today, we have Michael and Johan from Norna. They will give us a brief presentation and then a demo. So please take it away.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Kolaros, one of the founder of Norna. So we will do like an introduction of Norna today here. Together, I have my colleague Johan with me, and I have a background as an entrepreneur for many years, and we will talk a lot about AI and machine learning in this presentation. So, Johan.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Johan Stille. I joined Norna this year. I have a background from larger enterprises. I recently came from a company called Ahlsell, the largest technical distributor in the Scandinavian area. And I was instantly attracted by Norna when I met the founders here the first time, because in my recent career I've found words like machine learning, AI, big data, a bit abstract and a bit fluffy, so to speak. And when I met Norna, I saw almost for the first time in my life how these technologies can be used in a very concrete way, applicable for companies and adding a lot of values for the company. So that attracted me a lot. We will do an introduction and then we'll try to do a live demo. We know we're not supposed to do that, but we will try it anyway. Hope that's going to work fine. So what we're talking about here is business intelligence or market intelligence tool for fashion retail companies. And why fashion retailing? Well, it's a very interesting industry for us. First of all, there's a lot of actors, thousands of actors in this industry, which is of course good for our tool. And also it's an industry that is based on speed. There's a lot of it's speed in trends, it's speed in seasonality, and there's also a paradigm shift in this industry that we all can read and hear about, where new actors are coming in and disrupting this industry. They work in a completely different way, data-driven and with shorter lead times, etc. We provide a unique BI tool for this market where they can in real time daily follow the competitors and the market data. We'll show you that later. The tool itself has a stickiness to it because the customers using it today experience that they start to navigate their business based on the insights of the data. And once you do that, you get very dependent on this data. So from our experience, once you get this type of tool, you stick with it. And for me, joining Norna, it was interesting with the team starting it, Michael and Jonas sitting over there. They are experienced senior entrepreneurs, which is very good. They have a very sound and very solid and mature way of driving this company, which I personally like a lot. The company is beyond the technology phase. They've been working 4 years to build the platform, and we have, as you see in the below here, already been acknowledged from that work. We've been the startup partner of the year by IBM, and we have also been selected from Goldman Sachs to be one of the most disruptive technologies of 2022, which is great. Today, we gather data from almost 600 brands, and we daily collect data on almost 40 million items, and that's quite a lot. So what these fashion retailers, what are their pains? They have a lot of pains to work with today. These are some of them. Pricing, of course. How can we have a more relevant price points on our products in each category and in each geography? And Norna helps with that. Do we have any gaps in our assortment? The assortment's too wide or too narrow? You could see that from the data too. How do we work with discounts? How do we avoid over-discounting, which is a severe problem in this industry? What are the trends and how can we utilize the trends and navigate after those trends in our work? and how do we match these data-driven new competitors that we are facing out there. So the tool we have, our platform, helps our customers in several ways. Used correctly, the tool helps them in all of these areas. Of course, the improved pricing that we mentioned, and we will show you later how that looks in reality. Also the discounting side, you get a full view of how all the actors that you want to benchmark, how they work with their discounts. You could follow trends, and I will show you how you could actually follow a full product lifecycle in this system based on the data. It helps you to optimize your assortment in all different aspects. And if you do this correctly, of course, it gives you a higher sell-through. So a lot of strong fundamental value drivers for the users of this tool. It's a very broad tool, so to speak. It can be used for strategic work when you launch in a new geography, you enter a new country, or you launch a new assortment, etc. But it could also be used on a daily technical level. In fashion retail, they call it in-season or out-of-season work. And this data you could use in the full range of strategic to tactical work. And this is a bit of the magic. I remember when I met Norna first time, I could understand that you could see the data. You could see my jacket on a website, and you can collect that data. But they also told me that they know what is selling and not selling. And I was quite curious, how do you know? You don't have sales data. How do you know that? And it was a bit simpler than I thought. Actually, what we do when we look in a website, a web shop, all web shops are built on a popularity pyramid structure. So all web shops are moving items upwards and downwards based on popularity. It's natural, right? Since we are scraping and collecting the data daily, we follow the movements of my jacket or Jonas' jacket. And we could see that Jonas' jacket is up, is going up in popularity, and mine is going down. We give these products ranking points. We also measure if replenishment, if mine is sold out and is refilled, it's a good thing. If my jacket spins off to several other variants, it's a good thing. So we can actually see what is popular, and also that is usually the same thing as is selling a lot. And our customers confirm that every time. We see introductions, all new launches you could see in every aspect, and you could see also phase-outs. So use it correctly, you could follow a product life cycle or a category life cycle in every fashion retail category. Some existing customer cases, the tool was finished technically this year, so this is the year when we started selling the tool. Of course, we started off with some Swedish customers since we're a Swedish company, but this year we've expanded and started generating international customers. These are some examples. For example, Bogner, an old skiing brand, outdoor brand in Germany, and they wanted to find out if they could reduce assortment. The hypothesis was that they had too broad assortment in different markets, and they saw that from the data, and they could reduce assortment in some areas, in some categories, and by that they reduced cost and increased their margins, and had a very, very short payoff time of the tool. Bimba y Lola is a fast-growing Spanish fashion company. They had a problem with growing, that they didn't know the correct price point in new markets. What should be the price point in US or the price point in the States, etc. And by looking at price benchmark towards their peers, they could see this is eventually the right price point in a country versus another country. And they got a massive markup instantly by changing the cross-border pricing. Marimekko, as you know, a famous Finnish design company, they worked with Norna finding markup potentials in general, finding a little extra margins here and there, and did that successfully. They now recently asked us to expand from fashion into home interior which we are doing right now. So the methodology we have, we can expand to other business areas. And Michael, can you explain how it really works?
Yes, now we will talk a little bit more about technology, how we're actually doing this. So we're collecting a lot of data all the time. So for example, for H&M, we collect the data in Sweden, in Germany, in France, etc. every day, 24/7, we're collecting all the data. It's all images, it's all text. And we have built a very advanced pipeline that we're sorting all the products. To sort it is like the trick here, actually, because when we talk to our customer, they have like an internal data structure. So we map that structure to the market, which means that they actually can do one-to-one. And then we present that in a tool that we call Norna Analytics. And I will show you that in a second. It's a lot about talk about AI, machine learning, deep learning. This is actually a deep learning model, and this is the Zalando assortment. This is how a Zalando's assortment looks in a deep learning model. Just using images, we can sort the whole assortment out, and we can break it down. So our AI model is looking, I think today, 1,700 different properties. And we're using some part in the text, some part is just in the image. We're sorting everything out, and then we use that information in the system. So my idea now is go directly into the system.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can say a bit of this magic is that we, of course, collect all text, all data, all images on an item. But since we're also scanning the picture, we take out data points that are not even presented by the supplier itself. It could be arm length, shirt length, neckline, etc. So we get more data than is actually published.
So right now, I have logged in as Zara. Why I'm showing you Zara is because they are super successful right now when it comes to pricing. They have super high margins, and we've been looking at them for a year right now. So they have reduced the assortment and raised the prices on all market, and that's quite interesting. So we have some customers actually using Zara as a role model, country by country, to understand how they're doing the pricing. So this is like the last quarter, because I know they did a record result the last quarter. So we can see here right now, this is the first view when you log in. So this is the Spanish market right now. So what you can see directly here on the Spanish market, 24% is out of stock. You can see that the average discount right now in Spain is 42%. The discount with is 32%, etc., etc. So you got a lot of interesting information directly. So if I click here on Zara, for example, you can see all interesting KPIs, category by category. And you can see here actually that they have raised the price for the last quarter a lot. For example, here for dresses, 76%. Quite interesting. And the beauty with the Norna system is always when you see a number here, you can always click on... Oh, sorry. You can always click on all the numbers. So this is actually the product. So I clicked on dresses, and you get all the 780 dresses that is sold the last quarter. And you can go all the way directly into the special, to the products. So in this case here, I went from an overview in Spain directly down to this product in Spain. And we first observed this the 29th of September in Spain. You can have the price history for it. And you also can have all the product detail. One word about AI. So some parts we get from the text, but for example, when it's come to the dress length, for example, most of the time they don't write it. So there is one model just measuring the length of the dress, for example. We have one AI model looking at the pattern. We have one model just looking at the fabrics, one looking at the color, etc., etc., and breaking it down to enormous amount of different properties. So this is just one example. But we can deep down a little bit more. It's quite interesting. They've been very aggressive on dresses, for example. We can go in here, for example, to look at... we have a lot of here, you can see pricing and assortment tool. We'll just show you a couple of them. We can have, for example, go in and look at the price architecture in Spain. So just one second. So we can see here, this is actually the price distribution for the last quarter in in Spain. So you can see here, for example, that between 100 to 300 euro, most of the products, so they have like a distribution there, and it was like 94% was between 0 to 60 euro. And you can have a look at that, and you can always export that out. So if I click here, for example, we can look a little bit more on all markets, for example. Sorry. So this is quite interesting also. What I can see here, for example, that they have a little bit different price architecture from Spain to United States. So what I can see here directly actually is that they have a higher price point on the US market. Quite interesting. That means that they have different price strategies for different kind of countries. And you can even deep down a little bit, deep down in this a little bit more. So now we're looking at...
You see up here all the time what you're looking at. Now we're looking at bags in Spain, but we could choose trousers in Italy, or we could choose whatever.
We show, I think we go to dresses instead. So now we're looking, I went from bags to dresses right now instead. Just 1 second. It's a lot of information. So what you can see here, so this is actually dresses from, so your point of view right now is Spain, for example. So what we can see here immediately, when it's come to similar dresses, we can see that the price points are much higher in other countries. So they have a 33% higher price in France, and they have a 50% higher price in the United States. And this is actually for the same dresses. We have an AI model just going through all the sites to see, is it a similar dress or not? And then we can match them, and then we can have a look. And now I'm also looking at bag sales. Sorry, it was like a bad
This is a very popular analysis where you could see how your competitors are pricing cross-border, and you could follow if you have a peer that you really want to benchmark, or you could set your own standard in that market.
So in this example here, we can see, for example, that this actually dress is priced 72% higher in the US market. Quite simple, and you can do that in real time, so we can look at today or historical data all the time. And you can see the changes. So we have been looking at Zara, so they have raised the price a lot, actually, for the last year in many markets. So this is just one example how you can use the data, and we're using the same data all the time. So we've been collecting the data, we resell it to other vendors all the time. There is companies here actually that's disrupting the retail industry right now. Mostly it's Asian companies. We have a company called Shein from China. They go from... H&M is calling themselves a fast fashion company, but Shein see themselves as a real-time fashion company. So it's take them from when they see a trend, it take them 48 hours to produce that. So they are super, super fast right now. And then it's become super difficult for a company like Zara and H&M, you know, really to follow them. This is a super interesting analytics that we're doing right now. This is what we call product ranking. So for the last quarter, we're doing algorithms to understand what is actually selling right now. So in this example here, we have a list of the best-selling dresses on the Spanish market. This is that kind of technology these Asian actors is using. So they try to understand all the time what is selling in dresses, in trousers, in Germany, in France, and then they're doing similar product, and they skip all the product that don't sell. That's the product that Zara and H&M can sell. So they just take the best-selling products all the time, doing similar products. And Johan were also explaining that we were looking mostly on the hierarchy to understand actually how the movement is. So we have algorithms to understand the movement all the time. So if you really can act on this kind of information, you can do amazing things, actually. So this is just one example.
And I think it's we can finish off the demonstration there.
Yeah.
This is like we said, this is where our customers are challenging us. We're actually telling them this is what you are selling the most, and then there's normally a CFO there who's a bit curious, and then he looks in the figures and confirms that is actually correct. This week we signed Canada Goose. Interesting user case. They are a premium brand. They want to follow their own products through the retail platforms around the world, so they know what assortment, what product info and what prices the platforms are using. So that's a very specific user case, and we can help them with that also. So we try to show a variety of user cases that could be solved by using this data in a correct way. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much for the presentation as well as the demo that you just showed. So if we delve into a few questions here for the remaining minutes of the presentation.
Yeah.
My question is, you are a young company and you have the opportunity to grow very quickly. Now, if we go a little bit long term now, how do the economics of the business look like? Could you delve in a little bit into that aspect?
I could do that. It's looking really good because this is a SaaS product. We have a very low variable cost connected to each new customers in general, and specifically since when we collect data, we get data for a lot of peers or competitors, and we can just reuse that data to sell it over and over again to several actors. So in our case, in combination with a low cost structure, we have a very high profit margin based on a very high growth margin. We expect to be around somewhere between 75 to 80% growth margin. And
again, onto the fact that this is a rather novel type of product in Europe. Is there a clear-cut competitor, or has the competitive landscape not been fully defined yet? What is your view on that?
I think actually collecting data, it's a lot of companies actually collecting the data. So there is like some competitors in this area, but I think the way we're doing it, using like very, very advanced machine learning and sorting the product, it's quite easy to collect the data. The difficulty is actually how to sort the data so it fits our customer. So I think from our perspective, it's super good to have your competitors, but if we're doing this, the best way, I think we have a strong journey.
And the philosophy of the company is not to drive innovation. We drive customer value. So in that sense, as long as we can drive customer value, that's the most important thing for us.
Yeah. And in retail in general, what I guess investors and chief executives and so on take a look at is typically inventory levels. How can your product, you touched upon this a little bit, how can your product sort of help alleviate any inventory management issues and so on?
Yeah, but we strongly believe that if you really use these insights and this intelligence the right way, you will have a more relevant assortment and relevant price level, and you could follow your product life cycle, and by that have a better economy in your stock. But also, I think these companies need to speed up lead time. So if you combine speed and relevance, you would be successsul in the future in fashion retail.
And there is like companies like Shein, they don't really have inventories because they're doing fashion on demand. So it's like a new way to work actually.
Yeah. Well, that all sounds great. I think that we're out of time right now, but thank you everyone for listening, and for everybody online, thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.